Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So we'll start off with a little bhajan. This is the bhajan Srila Prabhupada used to. Srila Prabhupada, this was one of Srila Prabhupada's favorite bhajans. So we'll start with Jai Radha Madhav. So we sing and we repeat, and then we do Hare Krishna Kirtan, and then we get into the class for today evening. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Giri Varadhari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Giri Varadhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Giri Varadhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Giri Varadhari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jayo Radha Gopinath, Radha Gopinath, Shri Radhe. Jayo Radha Gopinath, Radha Gopinath, Shri Radhe. Jayo Jagannatha, Jayo Jagannatha, Jayo Baladeva, Jayo Subhadramai. Jayo Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Patita Pavan Gauranitai. Jayo Jayo Prabhupada, 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 Jayo Jayo Prabhupada. जय श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय, जय श्री श्री राधा गोपीनाथ भगवान की जय, जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की जय, जय गौर निताय की. We'll just do a little bit of Mangalacharan. Mangalacharan is basically invocatory prayers which we say before we read any scripture or start any class or listen to any discourse. So I'll just do a quick Mangalacharan and then we'll get into today's class. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Tadati Swapadantikam. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyahi Satarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabho Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Welcome all, welcome everyone to today's Sunday feast class at our beautiful Sri Sri Radha Gopinath temple here in North Sydney. Every time we visit a Krishna temple or we refer to Radha Krishna, Radha Gopinath, Radha Vallabh, Radha Madhav, Radha Ras Bihari, I always used to wonder, I said, why do they always have Radha first? Why is it, we've never ever heard Krishna Radha temple or Gopinath Radha temple or Vallabh Radha temple, isn't it? So I always used to wonder, and then Prabhupada gave me the answer. So he says, Radha is a very, very dear devotee of Krishna. She's like the prime devotee. There's no other devotee bigger than Radharani. So it gives Krishna immense pleasure to hear her name. So every time we utter her name before his name, he's extremely satisfied, he's extremely pleased. And that's why, Prabhupada says that we always say Radharani's name first before even calling out to Krishna, because once Krishna is pleased, then he's pleased and he gives us the benedictions or mercy. So then I thought that if hearing a devotee's name makes Krishna so pleased, then we should be glorifying devotees for the pleasure of Shri Shri Radha Gopinath. And that's when I thought, let's take the opportunity to glorify one of his very, very, very dear devotees. She is a very, very strong character from the Mahabharata. No points for guessing. The beloved wife of the famous Pandavas. She is also known as Draupadi, daughter of King Draupad. She's known as Panchali, the princess of the Panchal region. She's known as Yajnaseni, the one who's born out of the sacrificial fire. So she was not an ordinary woman. She was not born like all of us are born. She was actually born out of fire, out of the sacrificial fire, and the purpose of her birth was also very, very different. I mean, she was not born out of love of her parents coming together and producing her. She was born with the intent of avenging her father's insult. But, that's for another day. No points for guessing. One of her names was also Krishna. Most of you all might be knowing, but yes, she was also known as Krishna. Yes, not because she was a very dear devotee of the Lord, which she was, no doubts about that, but because of her dark complexion, she was called Krishna. So today we are going to be discussing, and I will attempt to glorify Queen Draupadi for the pleasure of Shri Shri Radha Gopinath. She was a very, very dear devotee of Lord Krishna, and as we all know, different devotees, different associates of the Lord have different rasas or bhava towards the Lord. Like Yashoda Maiya, Nanda Baba had the Vatsalya rasa for Krishna. The gopis obviously had the dasya bhav, or the servitude attitude. Then there was Madhurya rasa, which is obviously Radharani herself. But Draupadi, she was more of a friend to Krishna. Krishna referred to her as Sakhi, and that makes it very, very special. Normally, in Vedic cultures, they addressed women who are not their own wife as Matajis, or they had a very sort of formal relation. But Draupadi and Krishna had a very, very loving, friendly relation, and she was a very, very dear devotee of the Lord. So I thought that it would be nice to glorify such a great devotee, such a pure devotee, such a surrendered devotee, as we will see as the class unfolds, for the pleasure of Radha Gopinath. So there are two particular incidents in the life of Draupadi Devi which are really, really inspiring, which teaches us so much. It's personally taught me a lot of things, the values, characters that she imbibes, the strength of a character, the personality that she was. It's worth it's worth remembering for me, especially when I have tough situations. I was reading a lecture. I was reading a excerpt of a lecture from by His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj, and he was saying that normally in Western cultures, or even in the Vedic cultures, we had the idea that women were very subjugated. They were meant to be like very, very meek and shy and timid and all of that. But looking at Draupadi Devi's character, looking at how she conducted herself, how she dealt with situations that came her way, it's none of that. I mean, she proved that she was born out of fire, the fiery attitude that she had. Of course, she was a Kshatriya, and we were discussing, when yesterday Mataji discussed in the Bhagavatam class, this morning Prabhu discussed, even Krishna discusses the qualities of Kshatriyas in the Bhagavad Gita, and one of them is honor, valor, strength, and pride, and she demonstrated all of that. Bilva Mangalacharya, he wrote a song a stotra, which is the Govinda Damodara stotra. I mean, there are parts of it which we all know, which we all sing, which we will in some time. But he starts the stotra singing Agre Kuruna Math Pandavanam Dushasanaritavastrakesham Krishna Tadarokshananyanatha Govinda Damodara Madhaveti, which literally translates as in the sabha, in the assembly where the Kauravas and Pandavas had assembled, for the infamous gambling match for which Dharmaraj Yudhishthira was invited by Duryodhana. Dushasana, the brother of Duryodhana, dragged Draupadi Devi into the court, grabbing her by a hair. I mean, it's such a barbaric, demoniac act for somebody of that caliber to, even do. She was literally dragged by her robes, by her hair. So, he says that Agre Kuruna Matha Pandavanam, there were Kauravas, there were Pandavas, there were who's who in that assembly. And Dushasana literally grabbed her and dragged her like an animal into that assembly. And Krishna Tadaroksha Ananyanatha. So here Krishna is Draupadi and she's calling out, somebody please help. Somebody here please help me. I'm a helpless woman. I mean, for a Kshatrani, for a Kshatriya woman to even, have that condition, have somebody, attack her honor, it's a very big deal in itself. And that's when, she was like, brought there like that in that condition. And in that assembly there was everyone, all her in-laws, all her 5 husbands were obviously lost to Duryodhana, and because they lost to Duryodhana, they lost her to them, her mother-in-law, Queen Kunti Devi. Dhritarashtra, of course, he was blind, but Kripacharya, Dronacharya was their Shiksha Guru. Kripacharya, obviously we know, was their spiritual master. Bhishma Pitama, everybody was there in that assembly. She kept looking at everyone. Somebody please help. She kept, literally begging for help. Somebody please help, please help. Nobody came forward. I mean, it was, I personally think it was Krishna's Leela. I mean, for him, nothing is impossible. He could have just given somebody the intelligence to come forward and help her. He didn't. Nobody helped. I was listening to a lecture by Amarendra Prabhu, and in that he was mentioning this purport that Parashar Bhattacharya, who was a descendant of Ramanujacharya, he made a comment, they call it Tika in Hindi. He made a comment about this incident in the Mahabharata, and he says when she was looking at everyone, hoping somebody would help, she finally glanced at Kripacharya. And who is Kripacharya? Kripacharya is a spiritual master. So the word itself, Kripa, Acharya. Kripa is mercy and Acharya is a master. So the most merciful master has to be a spiritual master. We all know that. So she looked at Kripacharya, hoping at least he would help. He would do something. He would put some sense into everything that was going around. And he says, so Prabhu is saying that, all Kripacharya did was just put his head down in shame. He hung his head like that, nodded his head saying, I'm sorry, I can't help. And he just pointed his finger upwards like that, indicating. He was indicating something. And then Prabhu says something very interesting. He says, what Arjuna, took 700 verses of the Bhagavad Gita to understand, Draupadi understood just by looking at that one finger. I mean, if you look at the chronological order of events, the Bhagavad Gita manifested after this incident, right? Because of all of this, the Kurukshetra war happened. And in the Kurukshetra war, that's when, Krishna gave the Bhagavad Gita, or he spoke the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. But Draupadi had understood the message, what Krishna was trying to give, by that one finger pointing upwards. That is, surrendering to him. He's my only shelter. And that's when, she started praying and she started calling out to him. And I think all of us can join, because all of us have sung this and we've all prayed like this to Krishna. So, He Krishna Govinda Hare Murare, He Nath Narayana Vasudeva, He Krishna Govinda Hare Murare, He Nath Narayan Vasudeva. And then she say, Jibhe pibasvamrita etadeva Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. He Krishna, he Yadav, he Sakheti, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. So she sang that. And now here again, something interesting happened. And Prabhupada mentions this. He was in one of the lectures, I think was it LA or someplace. He was discussing this. I couldn't call it a Leela, he was discussing this situation and what Draupadi must have gone through. And he said, yes, Draupadi was praying. Yes, she was calling out to Krishna. But all the time, what was she doing? She was holding on to her sari, trying to protect her honor. So she was literally like, yes, Krishna, help me, but I'm also going to try to protect myself. I can do this. I can do this. And Prabhupada was like, no, that's not how you pray. When you want Krishna to help you, you need to let go. You need to have absolute surrender. You cannot, so it's funny, somebody was talking to a senior devotee and they were discussing and they were telling me, you cannot have a plan B when you're asking Krishna for help. We always have plan Bs in life. If this doesn't work, maybe I'll try that. But when you're asking Krishna for help, when you're telling Krishna, Krishna, help me, please intervene, do something with my life, then that's it. You do not have plan B, plan C, plan D, because that's the whole idea of trust and surrender, complete surrender. But that's what Draupadi was not doing. She kept holding on to her sari. She kept holding on, with her hands crossed across her chest. She tried to protect her honor. But then she realized, this is also not working. I'm calling out to Krishna, but doesn't seem to work. And then she said, maybe let me just give up, because Dushasana, apparently he had the strength of hundreds of elephants. This huge person, trying to pull at a garment. It's not like he's uprooting a tree, he's pulling a garment. And there's Draupadi Devi trying to, do a tug of war with him, and she's like, that's it, I give up. She put her hands up, and that's when Krishna intervened. Krishna was waiting for her to just put her hands up and surrender. And the minute she did it, Krishna appeared. And what he did, he just started supplying unlimited sari. Dushasana kept pulling, she kept spinning, and Krishna, just started, supplying her unlimited sari. I was talking to Senior Mataji, and I was discussing, because she also happens to like Draupadi Devi, the character, a lot. And she's like, in Yudhishthir Maharaj's Rajasya Yajna, when Yudhishthir Maharaj did the Rajasya Yajna, Shishupal, we all know he insulted Lord Krishna, and Krishna waited 99 times. He's like, okay, up to 99 times I'll forgive you. You do whatever you want. We do that with our children also. Fine. Strike 1, strike 2, strike 3, that's it, you're grounded. Krishna did that with Shishupal 99 times. And then finally when he, hit the 100th mark, that's when he wielded the Sudarshan Chakra, and we all know he beheaded Shishupal. And then Mataji was telling me that when the Sudarshan Chakra came back, it sort of, bruised Krishna's finger a little bit, and it started bleeding. And Draupadi Devi at that time, tore a piece of her sari and put a bandage around Krishna's finger. So Mataji was saying, for that few centimeters of vastra that Draupadi offered Krishna out of her pure love for him, he supplied that unlimited garment at a time when she really, really needed it. And here Amarendra Prabhu is saying, how we all sing glorifications of the Lord. Jayadev Goswami's famous Geet Govind, where he remembers all the different manifestations of the Lord and glorifies them, Varahadev, Narsimhadev, Kurma Avatar. Like, the Lord has manifested himself in different forms and different, features in different times for the sake of his devotees. So here Prabhu is saying that he manifested himself as a piece of cloth, as a garment that protected Draupadi's honor. So he was saying, Keshavadhrita Vastra Sharira Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare, Jai Jagadisha Hare. O Lord of the universe, all glories be unto you. You manifested as a cloth, as a piece of sari to protect your devotees' honor. Now, another interesting thing here that I was reading, in one of the explanations about this Leela, was that one of the names of Lord Krishna is Anant, limitless, infinite. Maybe to represent, maybe to show us his infinite mercy, his infinite love for his devotees, he must have brought about this Leela. Because the sari was never ending, it was limitless, it just wouldn't end. Just like Krishna's mercy, and that's what he was trying to tell us, that my love for you all is limitless. So it's really, when you think about it, we always think about the Lord in his opulent form, sitting on the altar, but no, he could manifest himself in any shape and form for the sake of his devotees. And Prabhupada also says that is real Krishna consciousness. Seeing Krishna in everything and seeing Krishna's hand in everything. So like even the notebook, the pen that I used to, make my notes for this class, I think that's Krishna too, because, through that, he's, putting across the message to all of us. So, that was the whole, I don't like to call it the Vastrahara Leela, but I think I would like to call it, Krishna's unlimited mercy Leela, because it is representational of that. Even Queen Kunti Devi, when she was thanking Krishna for all his help, protection to the Pandavas, right from the word get-go, when they were sent in exile, when they were tried to be burnt alive in the wax palace, she also mentioned this, and she said, what none of us could do for Draupadi Devi, none of the elders could do, her husbands couldn't do. Lord Krishna, you helped, and thank you for that. So that is one incident in Draupadi's life where Krishna showed us his mercy. And another one which personally for me shows her strength of character is the time when Ashwatthama killed Draupadi's 5 sleeping children. So we all know that, A, he broke a lot of rules. The rules of the war are that A, you're not supposed to fight after sunset, and B, you're not supposed to, even attack somebody who is nishastra, or is it what they call it? Yeah, without any weapons. And Ashwatthama thought that they were the 5 Pandavas sleeping. He went and in the middle of the night just killed 5 of them, Draupadi's children. Next day, they found out, bound Ashwatthama by ropes and brought him in front of Draupadi Devi. He was kneeling down. I mean, somebody in that position would be boiling with anger, would be cursing, would be desiring and wishing all the bad things for somebody who's done something so bad. What did Draupadi Devi do? She was calm, she was composed. And everybody is instigating her. Bhimsen, the angry young man of Mahabharata, blood boiling all the time at the drop of a hat. He's instigating, kill him right now. He deserves to be killed. He deserves to die. Even Arjuna is like, no, we have to kill him. That's the only punishment he deserves. What did Draupadi Devi say? She said, no, we cannot kill him. On what grounds? That A, he's a Guru Putra. Ashwatthama was the son of Dronacharya. And Dronacharya was the Shiksha Guru of both the Kauravas and Pandavas. It's Dronacharya's mercy that the Pandavas became the best archers and, fighters. It was Dronacharya who taught them the art of warfare. So by that logic, he becomes the son of your Shiksha Guru or your teacher. So Shastra does not allow us to harm or kill a Guru Putra. So that showed, how dharmic she was. I mean, she had to be. She was the wife of Dharmaraj Yudhishthir. She had to absolutely follow the rules and regulations and the principles of religion and dharma. Second, she said that what I'm going through right now, after my children have been killed, I don't want his mother to go through it. That showed her compassion. I mean, how many of us would, even think on those lines in that situation? I personally get irritated if somebody, jumps the queue and goes ahead of me in a prasadam line when I'm super hungry, especially on Dwadashi, Just think about it. You fasted on Ekadashi. which, talking about Ekadashi, by the way, Tuesday, the coming Tuesday in 2 days is actually Pandava Nirjala Ekadashi. So, the Pandavas had actually fasted. It was basically Bhimsen, who was like, we all know Bhima was like so fond of eating all the time, and, he went to Vyasadeva and he said that, oh, you know what, as much as I'd love to do Ekadashi Vrata, I cannot tolerate hunger. What do I do? And that's when he said, you observe this one Ekadashi, and then, you'll get the fruits of observing all the 12 Ekadashis, or 24 Ekadashis, sorry, during the year. So just, digressing a little bit, but then that's the glory of Pandava Nirjala Ekadashi, which is happening on Tuesday. So please come, take darshan of Shri Shri Radha Gopinath. I mean, they are dressed in beautiful reds on every Ekadashi, so please come. So coming back to Draupadi Devi, so that was her compassion. That was her, forgiving attitude, where she could forgive with such a big heart that demon who did something so barbaric. And then she said that Shastra also doesn't allow Kshatriyas to kill Brahmanas. I mean, the duty of a Kshatriya is to protect the Brahmanas. And obviously, Ashwatthama being the son of Dronacharya, by that principle, it's against Shastra, it's against Dharma for us to kill him. And I was reading that of everyone, Krishna was extremely pleased with Draupadi Devi for this behavior and attitude of hers, because Krishna loves devotees who are humble, who are forgiving, who are compassionate, just like him. Just this morning, Prabhu was telling in the class, in the Bhagavatam class, that, if we even think of all the times we have made mistakes or done something wrong, and the times that Krishna has forgiven us, we'll be ashamed. So every time, we think that, no, I'm not going to forgive, I'm super angry, and, this person has done something really bad to me, and that's it, If Krishna ever has that attitude towards us, if Krishna kept a logbook of all the times we were bad children, then I don't know who else can save us. So that's why they had written that Krishna was extremely pleased. Dharmaraj Yudhishthir was extremely pleased with his wife. He's Dharmaraj. He is the one who follows principles. He's a part of Yamraj. That's how he became, because Yamaraj is known to have or met out justice and follow dharma. So he was extremely pleased with his wife for this decision of hers. And that's when Krishna, said, okay, if my devotee is forgiving, I cannot let injustice happen. I have to do something. And that's when he gave Ashwatthama, I wouldn't say a boon, it's definitely not a boon. He gave him the curse of being a Chiranjeevi, which is essentially, you just live on till the end of time. I mean, come on, isn't that like, I don't think there's no worse curse than, having to live till the end of time. Your friends, family gone, and we don't even know where the world is going, and who wants to live in such a world, Things are better now, fine, you live your life, and then, go back home, back to Godhead. But yeah, that's what Krishna did for his devotees. So it's very, very, both these situations in Draupadi's life, one where, she was helpless and Krishna came to help her, and second situation where, she could, give or order any punishment she wanted for Ashwatthama, but she showed forgiveness, she showed compassion. And these two incidents particularly, inspire me every single time. Now, every single time I come across situations where, I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? I think of this, and, it just gives me so much of strength. And it's not something that we are reading as a fairy tale. It's happened. It's in the Shastras. And it's in the Shastras probably for us to learn. So, just putting your hands up, surrendering to Krishna, and letting go of any plan Bs, just so that Krishna can intervene. I mean, if you, hold on to your life and hold on to your plans, we're just reading in one of the purports a couple of days back that man proposes, God disposes. So no matter what plans we have, if Krishna doesn't want it, it will not happen. So the idea is to, yes, execute your karmas, do what you have to, but eventually we know that Krishna is the one who is, who has the strings. I mean, he was not just a charioteer to Arjuna, he's a charioteer of all our lives. We all, he takes us where we should be going. He knows more than us. And he knows best. I mean, we would think sometimes that his plans are like, I don't understand what's going on. So there's a very interesting incident, a story that it's called Fabric of Life. So there was this mother who used to do embroidery. Yeah, you have like a piece of cloth and then you put it in like a ring so that it gets tightened, and then you do embroidery. So her routine was after dinner every evening, she used to sit on the table and do her embroidery because she's really good at it. One day, her little child, a toddler who was playing, he just happened to crawl up and he went under the table and he started looking, what is mom doing, and he saw all these different threads going here and there, and it was very messy, and he couldn't understand. So he came out and he's like, Mom, what are you doing? And his mother was like, I'm doing embroidery. So I'm making like a beautiful flowery pattern. The child goes like, but it doesn't look like it, it looks quite messy, it's not beautiful at all. What's going on, you're not doing a good job. And then that's when she's like, you're looking at it from the wrong side. Why didn't you stand up? And she showed him from above what embroidery she was doing. And he's like, wow, this is so beautiful. And that is what, all our lives are like. From the angle, from our perspective, we think everything is messy. But then the one sitting upstairs, upstairs or wherever the pointing finger, he knows. And from the view that he has, it's absolutely beautiful. So all we have to do is just trust. We are not like that child who looks only from that down and then, Ma, Krishna, what are you doing? And it's so messy. No, Krishna's like, see from where I'm seeing it, everything is planned and everything is going to be beautiful. And that's how Krishna, just weaves our fabric of life. So coming back to Draupadi Devi, it is said that after the Pandavas finished their earthly pastimes and they were, descending to going back home, back to Godhead, Yudhishthir Maharaj said that, okay, it's time up, game over, let's all go. And he did not bother to even, invite Draupadi Devi to go with him. The Pandavas are like, but we can't leave her behind. Yudhishthira Maharaj is like, no, we have to go. And they all just left her and they went. But it is said in Bhagavatam, Prabhupada says that when they reached the gates of heaven or wherever, back home, back to Godhead, Draupadi Devi was already present there. And Prabhupada explains that because she was such a pure devotee of Krishna, she probably didn't do any of the karma kanda. She didn't serve Krishna the way the other Pandavas did. But her bhava, her pure devotion, her pure love for Krishna gave her the same conclusion to her life like the other Pandavas got. And both she and Prabhupada was saying Subhadra Maharani, who was also the second wife of Arjuna, who's also Krishna's sister, they were, they got the same position or ending as the Pandavas. So that just goes on to show. I mean, if you see from where her life started, she probably had no idea why she was born. I mean, just imagine, just no childhood, no nursery, no kindergarten, no grade 1, no grade 2, no selectives. You straight get into a job and you're like, okay, what am I here to do? And then, yeah, you're here to, just hit this target. So for Draupadi, it was like, you're here to, avenge your father's insult. And she's like, okay, but then, if you see, nowhere in her life she ended up, really doing any of that. On the contrary, she was just victimized, if I may, but also saved by Krishna. So it's all Krishna's Leela. I mean, just going back to the garment, unlimited mercy incident. From today I'm going to call it unlimited mercy incident. It was very easy for Krishna to just wield his Sudarshan Chakra. When she called out to him, Hey Krishna Govinda Hare Murare, he could have just manifested, pulled out his Sudarshan Chakra and beheaded Dushasana, or even for that matter, all the other Kauravas. I mean, the Kurukshetra war wouldn't have happened. But no, he didn't. I mean, he did that with Shishupal, but he didn't. I mean, Krishna always has this thing, because if he had done that, then, we wouldn't have been sitting here and glorifying Draupadi and talking about what a surrendered soul she was. Because the Lord is known to do that. He always, makes his devotees do the work so that they get glorified. Like Lord Ramachandra, if we talk about Lord Ramachandra, he's the Supreme. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Wouldn't he have known where Sita is? And he could have just gone and found her and got her back. But no, he wanted to, glorify Hanuman. So he made the whole Sundarakand episode where Hanuman, flew over the waters and found Sita Devi and came back, and, the whole world, we glorify Hanumanji. That's what the Lord does. That's one of his qualities, that he will put the devotees in such a position that they get glorified. And that's exactly what he did. That's exactly what he did even with, Draupadi Devi, such a dear friend, a Sakhi of Krishna. So it's amazing how, Lord Krishna just works his ways, works his charm, and teaches us through all these different incidents and leelas. So, yeah. So that's about it. We will have Gaur Aarti in 15 minutes. If I have said anything that is offensive, if I've, spoken unknowingly anything that is offensive, please forgive me. Vansha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhuba evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. And we will have Gaur Aarti at 7. We'll be glorifying Mahaprabhu. And thank you all once again for coming to Sunday Feast class, and hoping to see you all again soon. If you've not had prasadam, there's prasadam outside. Please have some prasadam, and Hare Krishna. We'll do Kirtan? Okay, Mataji is saying we'll do Kirtan.